The wheels on the bus bulldoze J.J. Abrams' career says, so Wonder Woman 3 should be Wonder Woman 2 and pretend 84 didn't happen. Well, you know what? Let's put a pin in the super chats for now right there and get into this business. Because Andre, the internet has erupted over the last 2 days over this business. And as I kept trying to tell people, don't panic, stay calm. Nobody knows nothing. Like, we have a big rumor that just came out. And of this rumor, there's only one thing that really sounds plausible here. And as it turned out from a tweet, that's probably the case. But let's take everybody back here to the beginning, Andre. What's going on here?
Yes. Tom, take everyone through this because my connection is a little bit wonky
okay, no problem.
now. But,
all right, so this actually starts technically, I think it was Monday. News had come out that there was a test screening for Aquaman 2 over the weekend. And in said test screening, everybody was panicking because Ben Affleck's scene wasn't in the movie. Now I say scene because as far as I understand, it was one scene, an end credits scene. With that, it was originally showing Michael Keaton, but also this started a whole thing of like, oh, is Ben Affleck done? Are they not going to put that cameo in the movie? What's going on here? Then over the course of the next day or so, The Rock had put out a tweet claiming that Black Adam was looking to clear somewhere between 50 and 70 million. And then he backed it up with an article supposedly from, I think it was THR or Deadline, one of the two. And then I think it was after The Rock's. Then Gal Gadot put out a tweet and Instagram post thanking all her fans and saying that she was excited for the next chapter in Wonder Woman's story. So there was that, and people took that a little strangely too. And then all of a sudden, this news drops in Hollywood Reporter and I think Variety simultaneously that Wonder Woman 3 was not moving forward at DC Studios, and that Patty Jenkins had supposedly left. So they jumped from that to this idea that everything is being canceled, everybody's being recast, it's starting from scratch, which Script Doctor will point out that's not abnormal when a new regime takes over. So I could see where some people could jump to that conclusion, but I kept telling people, don't panic, don't freak out. Nobody knows nothing but James Gunn right now. And James Gunn and Peter Safran still have to present their 10-year plan to Zaslav, and he has to sign off on it yet. So there's a lot of what ifs in this scenario.
Yep.
And then the next morning, which would have been yesterday morning, I believe it was, James Gunn posted a tweet. Let me see if I can grab that actual tweet here.
It was a short, brief Twitter thread, and it was actually
a little Twitter thread,
really well worded, very polite.
Yeah, if you want to just paraphrase it, go ahead.
He basically said some of this is true, some of this is false, and some of this we haven't even made a decision on yet. He basically said we're going to do our best to honor the story of these characters. You're not everybody's going to be pleased, but we're coming from a place of love and admiration. Essentially, that's what he was saying. And he said the only thing I wish I didn't have to tell you is that you'll have to wait before we can actually make some announcements. And
yeah,
that's the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah, and Valiant made a great point that next month is the quarterly meeting or whatever. So that'll be a time when Zaslav will want to be able to present or at least say a few things that they've got on the horizon to pique some interest. So as I've said, December was when the plan was supposed to come in. We'll start probably seeing either some trickling of some news or they'll make a grand announcement. We'll have to wait and find out. But until then, we won't know nothing. But one thing we do know now, or at least somewhat, is the going on and what happened behind the scenes with the whole Wonder Woman mess. Because before we get into any of the other stuff, let's cover the Wonder Woman part first, because that was the thing, is everybody's like, is Gal Gadot done? Are they recasting Wonder Woman? What is going on here? So late last night, or well, I guess late afternoon, I guess you would say, while we were still live, this dropped. Warner Brothers didn't cancel Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins walked off the project, which is funny because that was what I said probably happened originally. If you guys remember when we first heard the news, I was like, I wonder if she just walked because they're like, we're not doing your shit. But let's get into this. This comes from Humberto Gonzalez. It says, in exchange with the studio chief Mike DeLuca, the Wonder Woman 84 filmmakers sent him a dictionary definition of character arc. Now, be prepared if you're easily triggered, because this is about to paint a picture of Patty Jenkins as quite the Karen. She should be Karen Jenkins. So here we go. Hollywood was stunned by the news this week that Warner Brothers Discovery would not move forward with Wonder Woman 3, but in fact, it was Patty Jenkins, who directed the first 2 films in the superhero series, who walked off the project after rejecting studio notes on her treatment. Multiple individuals told the Wrap. Jenkins' exit comes as James Gunn and Peter Safran have been getting settled into their new roles as co-CEOs of DC Films and are busy plotting out the extensive multi-year plan for DC Films, TV shows, and games that they will present to Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav next week, as I've been saying. But the two had nothing to do with what happened to Wonder Woman 3, the Wrap has learned. Now, it's funny that they punched that up. WDW Pro was on the show last night, and he thought that was quite interesting, too. So you might want to check out a reporting on that from there. Although Gunn and Safran have been given a mandate to reshape the DC landscape, Warner Brothers Discovery has ongoing enterprises that nobody was going to mess with, according to one insider. This includes Matt Reeves writing a sequel to The Batman. Interesting. J.J. Abrams' Black-led Superman from Ta-Nehisi Coates, which is another one that, as far as we know and heard of, is dead. So we'll get back to that in just a second. Todd Phillips' Joker 2, and Patty Jenkins doing Wonder Woman 3. Now, the reason I said let's get back to that in a second is because this is something I've noticed, and I don't know if you want to comment on this at all, Andre, where we've said, like, I don't know, where I flat out said, where I don't know where some of these people are getting some of this shit, because nobody knows nothing yet. And I've been saying that for almost a month now or better. And we've known for a while that all these J.J. Abrams projects are pretty much dead.
They're toast, every last one of them.
So I'm starting to wonder if certain quote-unquote scoopers and people in the press are getting bad information or mixing it with old information. So what's your comment on that, Andre? Because we commented a little bit on that. I'm like, some of this stuff sends a red flag to me, like, yeah, these may not be people who actually are in the know as much as they pretend to be.
Yeah, because half of this is either out of date information, or it could be fake information that is being released specifically to root out leaks. If anything, we have gotten the impression that James Gunn maybe doesn't like the scoopers that present these kind of leaks. And he wants to get rid of their sources. One way of doing that would be to release fake intel and see what comes where, because much of this stuff here is out of date. And these are projects that we have heard very exclusively through multiple sources are dead in the water. Case in point, like all of J.J. Abrams' projects are wiped out now. So why would they suddenly bring these ones back up? After Zaslav has said that we need to get Superman right. Why are they talking about Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman project that was only going to destroy the property? Why are they still talking about these disasters from the previous management? Like, that's weird, because they're not happening.
Because the only one in that list that I know of that Zaslav had any interest in was Joker 2. And as far as the Batman, that's up in the air yet. We've heard various things about it. In fact, Paulie was talking yesterday about how he knows somebody who is on the staff of, and they're under rewrites right now, and then script backed that up. And he flat out said, yeah, they're not shooting now till February, which is exactly what Paulie had told us. And I don't think Paulie had, or I don't think script had even listened to us on Mr. H. So.
Oh, you guys said that on. Okay, no, I didn't.
That's what I was saying. So I don't think you heard it. So you were just saying it, and I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting because that's exactly what fucking Paulie said.
So yeah, then we have it from.
And that was all per Zaslav, he said.
Yeah.
Which, what have I been saying about the Penguin? that is going to predicate how they go forward with the Batman 2. And if it sounds like they're pulling Matt Reeves away from it, or they've got a completely different visionary in there, where's Matt Reeves? What's he doing? And that's where I've been saying, and Script Doctors also backed me up on this, is if the Batman was such a huge hit and something they wanted right away, that would have been fast-tracked right away. We wouldn't be sitting here waiting until 2025 for Matt Reeves to turn in a script.
No, nor would you ever get an article in the trade saying that the movie is being delayed before it's even actually been developed. You don't do that. You can delay something if it's in mid-shooting because an accident happened on set or there's a post-production issue. You can't delay before you even started rolling film.
And actually, Paulie's here. I'll send you the link if you're free, Paul, if you want to
Right here.
hop in here. Well, we got another Paul here, too. See, he's Paul Lee. You're Paul.
That's right.
And then Pablo is on Pablo. Because we got so many Pauls around here now.
God damn those Pauls.
They're multiplying.
It's
It's appalling. That was actually pretty good.
Sorry.
No. All right. Once in a while, punny jokes will get.
Yeah, puns can be good sometimes.
So like the first thing I was saying, right, as soon as this news came out, and I'm sure a lot of other people were, so I'm not going to try and pretend like I'm the only one. I'm like, all I can see here is that Patty Jenkins took a fucking walk. That's all I see here. I don't know why people are jumping to this grand conclusion that Wonder Woman 3 is never going to happen, that Gal Gadot is not Wonder Woman anymore.
I can tell you because I think the general entertainment press out there don't want Gunn to succeed on behalf of Zaslav.
There you go. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Paul, because that brings me right to my point. Because I was telling a lot of people, even some people that we talk to about these things and run some of this information too, they were kind of freaking out. And I said, stop, guys. Think for one moment, just for one moment. If you were somebody who was, let's say, I don't know, a Hamada loyalist, how the hell would you freak every fucking fan out? And I mean, not only that, every non-fan out at the same goddamn time. Doing this, because if you're announcing that this is gone, you're going to have Snyder fans pissed, a lot of the general audience pissed, the feminists pissed. I mean, if you got it out there that they're canceling Wonder Woman, do you realize what kind of a big fucking hooskow? We saw the result of that hooskow, right? And it didn't even go to that extent. So that's what I was saying, is like, if somebody wanted to start a fucking brush fire, they sure knew how to do it. I don't know.
Of course, because the precedent is that when a new regime comes in, all the old stuff is usually thrown out.
Which makes it believable.
Yeah. It's like, that's just and here's the other part too. Even with James Gunn's tweet and any speculation you have, it is very logical to believe that he is going to salvage what has been done, and not in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to pull this up and refurbish it. No, he's going to take all the good parts that still work, and he's going to make something new with it. That type of salvage, like when you're rebuilding a classic car, but you have to get parts from various different years and different cars that work to make something look good and function properly. It still looks like the original, but it's its own new thing. It operates properly. It drives smoothly. All those types of stuff. It's not like you're taking something that's broken and just putting a Band-Aid on it, which is what DC had been doing for the last 8 years.
Correct. It's actually very heartening to hear how this is playing out, because it actually sounds like someone with a plan.
Yeah, and let me finish, because this gets even better. This is amazing. Last week, Jenkins turned in her treatment for Wonder Woman 3 to the studio, according to insiders. Warner Brothers Film Group chairpersons, CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy didn't think the treatment worked and decided not to move forward with the film in its current iteration. Gunn and Safran, who had nothing to do with the decision, they said it again, also agreed with DeLuca and Abdy that the treatment didn't work. DeLuca and Abdy spoke to Jenkins first and communicated that they didn't get the treatment, didn't think it was the right direction for the franchise, and asked Jenkins if she would consider pitching something else for an IP in another direction, which is something we did here, was that she was supposed to bring another pitch to the table, but that didn't sound like it was going to happen. But according to one insider, Jenkins refused and let DeLuca and Abdy know they were wrong and they didn't understand her, didn't understand the character, didn't understand character arcs, and didn't understand what Jenkins was trying to do. Well, and I'm sure their thoughts was, Patty, nobody understood what you were trying to do with Wonder Woman 84. It only made sense to you, bitch. Like,
there actually was a movie in there. It was just really badly done.
It was just a bad movie, yeah.
There was a movie in there. I saw it. I went,
oh no, I agree. There is something in there. I don't think they knew that there was a movie in there.
Correct.
No, I was just bringing it up to point out the irony.
Your writer.
I just brought it up to point out the irony that this is the individual who was responsible for Wonder Woman 84 saying this shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just silly. And I mean, the opening too. I mean, so exciting to have a battle in front of 23andMe. that was.
So she just told the new heads of Warner Brothers to basically go fuck themselves. Okay. Wow. To underscore her point, according to the First Insider, she had to add insult to injury. Jenkins sent an email to DeLuca that ended up with a link to the Wikipedia definition of character arc.
But we're not hearing anything from Gal Gadot, and number one, I think that's smart.
We heard one thing from her.
We did?
Yeah, she put out her post that she thanked the fans and she can't wait for the next chapter.
Right, but she hasn't said, I am following Patty to the ends of the world.
I think that tweet was her saying that she wasn't following Patty. That's what I was insinuating from the start. Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. That was her saying, this bitch is crazy, and I'm staying with Wonder Woman. Because remember, Patty Jenkins never chose Gal Gadot in the first place.
It was Snyder.
I've always heard that Gal Gadot made it work with Patty Jenkins, or rather they made it work with each other, but they were never each other's first choice.
Snyder picked her.
Yeah, exactly. There was always some level of friction there, and apparently that friction continued onto the Cleopatra thing, which is why Jenkins is no longer doing that. And I have to say, I think it's really stunning and brave of Jenkins to do this and act like so unhumble and so Karen-like to the heads of a new studio. Even you can do that if you have a million other options, but
there's a reason for this.
Wonder Woman.
I get you, Andre, and you're right. And right now, we don't even know what the fucking status of Cleopatra is. Script brought up a great point though last night. She's doing this on purpose. She wanted to walk. She was going to walk no matter what, probably, because she knew that she was going to get fired. And instead of getting fired, as if she walks, then it looks better for her in the future. That's the big difference here.
Yeah, if she can quit over basically creative differences, she can still use what's left of her reputation to get another project done at another studio. Because she already got a massively hard hit when her Rogue Squadron script was submitted and completely rejected by Disney.
That's how bad. You got to be that bad to be rejected by Disney.
Oh, yeah.
That's really bad. I think one of the things, and we're talking about Jennifer Lawrence too, is that the comparison between Lawrence and Gadot is shocking in terms of education and military service. So I think you've got an unbelievably smart woman in Gadot who's actually maybe starting to age. And I mean, I think Zaslav knows that you need to get her into at least one more Wonder Woman.
No, I think they'll give her one last one, like a farewell Wonder Woman thing for her trilogy, and then they'll get someone new. And as I was saying last night, Gal Gadot, I mean, yeah, I think she's an okay actress. She has a very beautiful face, but she doesn't bring the butts to the seats for the movies that she does.
She has a nice butt.
And it's very, very tiny. But yeah, like I was just reviewing her filmography, and aside from the DC stuff of her theatrical things, she's only done Red Notice and Death on the Nile
and Fast and Furious.
Well, that was before Wonder Woman and Justice League.
Oh, he's talking about after, but yeah, no, you're not wrong. Script. She needs Wonder Woman more than Wonder Woman needs her.
No, absolutely, and she does fill the screen as Wonder Woman. I mean, she's
she does it
she has
fine.
presence. Absolutely. Yeah. She has presence.
And she has a fan base. So in that respect, you know, like she's going to make the right move here, I believe. And then there's just a little bit more to this. So according to this insider, she doesn't want to allow them to have a seat at the table to have an opinion on something new that she might come up with. Representatives for Jenkins did not respond to requests for comments, and Warner Brothers declined to comment for the story as well. The studio hasn't killed the Wonder Woman franchise altogether, and Gal Gadot, however you say her name, is still attached to the role at this point. The studio has yet to discuss with Gadot how she feels about continuing as the Amazon warrior without Jenkins and hopes she wishes to stay on. Where are they getting this from if the Warner Brothers declined to comment? But on Tuesday, and this is what was talking about, Paul, she tweeted out a few years ago, it was announced that I was going to play Wonder Woman. I've been so grateful for the opportunity to play such an incredible, iconic character. And more than anything, I'm grateful for you, the fans. Can't wait to share her next chapter with you. So that tells me that she's more, I don't know about her not talking to the studio. See, that I don't know if I buy that. I think she was privy to this whole thing, to be honest with you, because the timing of this whole story coming out, this is what kind of bothered me because, you know, script, you and Andre, and even I at first kind of thought the same thing. And I'm sure Culture, and I don't know, Paul, if you had saw it or not, but when it came to Rock's initial tweet, I'm like, this motherfucker's vying for a job. Like, why is he trying so hard to do this? And then all of a sudden Gal's tweet come out, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's going on here. There's something in the shift in the movement. And I think what's going on, and this is something we learned from that J.R.R. article, I believe, that I had up before, and that is that Safran has been in contact with a lot of people involved with DC over the last few months, probably checking in on certain things, probably gauging certain things for James, I would assume, and I'm just speculating here, on things, you know, of, are you interested? Would you like to do this? Are you not interested anymore? We're not interested in you, but whatever. They're talking to them about all these things, probably trying to figure out and build where they're going to go from there. Because Gunn said in his tweet, they are going to build upon what worked and fix what didn't. And that to me tells me exactly what I've been saying from the start. And that is that some of these people are going to stay, some of them are going to go, and some of them you may see return in different roles. And I said that way before this Lobo talk came into the picture too. And now that's starting to pick up.
For those that may not believe that, go and check back in our Warner and DC playlist, because I believe 3-4 months ago, we published a video about, like, what's the future of the Snyderverse, where we said, and these are your
there
words,
is no Snyderverse.
Exactly that. The future of the Snyderverse depends entirely on how you define it. Do you define it as the cast? Well, in that case, select cast will continue. So there's that. But in that case, we never left the Snyderverse because that cast is still there. Do you define it as the storylines? That ain't coming back. Snyderverse is dead, if that's your definition.
Yeah, technically, this last movie will be the Aquaman one.
Technically, yes. Otherwise, that's why they keep calling it the Snyder trilogy. Because as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, that whole little thing is just its own little also-ran kind of thing. Like, yeah, that's what I kept getting alluded to, basically. Go ahead, Culture.
No, the only thing I want to add is because you guys have mentioned Cleopatra a couple of times and all of that. And of course, some stories dropped yesterday related to, you know, the Wonder Woman thing, including one that said that the most recent treatment was handed in quite a disarrayed manner. You know, some people suggesting
Cleopatra?
No. The Wonder Woman.
Oh, the Wonder Woman one. Okay.
With Cleopatra, though, because you guys had mentioned that, there's no production date set for that. Nothing's moved forward. They changed.
Yeah, that has kind of became stale. Like, it just went dead.
Yeah, Patty's not even involved anymore. It's Carrie Skoglund. I think
that's right. She lost that right after. I forgot all about that. Right after Rogue
she
Squadron.
Didn't have Cleopatra. She didn't have Rogue Squadron. She obviously doesn't have Wonder Woman 3. What prospects does she have now? I'm like, who's, you know, she seems difficult to work with, you know, based on this article from the Wrap. So I don't know. I've not been optimistic on this for a while now. Again, I had a member stream yesterday, and we talked a little bit about this again. Some articles had come through and talking about all these projects that are there. They're not there, and that would include Wonder Woman, obviously. I can see them turning down Patty Jenkins. Patty's not
Maybe
making friends.
Didn't she go to television for a while? Or
Well, she was raising her kid. Yeah, she was directing.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe she'll go back to TV or something.
Well, I mean, you consider we are now 2 years separated from the announcement of this Cleopatra film, and it has not done anything. It's a dead
I know, yeah,
talk.
that's right. I forgot Patty wasn't even a part of it anymore. You just reminded me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I totally spaced that part out. Yeah, I think she's kind of like on this point where she's just gonna maybe she'll just go do some smaller movies or something. I imagine this whole Wonder Woman thing has been nothing but a nightmare for her because I'm not trying to stick up for her in any way either, and I don't feel sorry for her in the least. But you got to remember, the first movie was kind of hijacked from her. The second movie was her own thing, and that thing failed miserably. So at this point, she's better off just kind of going with her tail between her legs and doing something small and gaining her status back as a
she's always inserting agenda into what she does, though, and that also included the way she
there's a
wanted
place
to
for that in independent stuff, though, culture, but not in this shit.
No, I agree, but you got to make money. And I think the studios are desperate now to make money. I mean, if if you look at, even in animation, studios are losing money, which is ridiculous right now. I don't know. I feel like, maybe these people have had their run and the studios are finally going, we can't afford to do this anymore. I
agree completely. And also, I submit that in the case of the first Wonder Woman, the reason it worked was that it was taken away from her. Had it not been, it would have been a disaster. Wait for a reason.
Yeah, you're probably right, Andre.
Just not.
But she still got credit for it, which is standard practice.
Yeah, she got credit for it. Standard practice. I remember there's controversy that the test ratings for Wonder Woman were quite atrocious in the early stages, and they had to reevaluate everything.
Can I ask, because you guys were talking about there was a story in Wonder Woman 1984. I think there were 3 stories, and they needed to pick one. I really do. And I'm not a big fan of monkey's paw stuff, but if you were going to stick with that storyline, stick with that one.
Yeah.
I just, and then of course, the issues around the, oh gosh, I forget his name. And the Steve inheriting another person's body.
That was a big mistake.
That was huge error, and I'm like, just bring him back. Yeah, just bring him back, and then you don't have to deal with the alleged, inappropriate behavior,
inappropriate use of someone else's body. Yeah.
That or pull a Captain America and have him be like the grandkid.
They did that in the original Wonder Woman show. The Steve Trevor in the first season was World War II,
that's right.
Steve Trevor in the second season was his kid, Junior. And in the 70s. So,
well, the
forgot all about that script.
1984 was a clear lack of leadership example, because if I got that pitched to me, I'd go, why are you jumping all these decades? We've got several other decades worth of time to exploit and make money from before you bring it all the way up to 84. Are you kidding me? So yes, she's not going to die, but don't take it from World War I all the way to 1984. You've just now, crippled.
Skipped 60 years of content.
Should have been in World War II anyway, especially when you got WW1 for Wonder Woman 1, World War I. Wonder Woman 2 could have been set during World War II, WW2.
Communism, for fuck's sake. I mean.